This is a continuation. If you look down there, I don't know if you can see that, but it has a number 3 stamp. I don't know if this is going to help much. It has a number 3 stamp right in there. And the way this mechanism works is when you unlock the lock and go to turn the key, it moves on those actuators on that post right there. Now, this is the bypass that I was talking about. They call it the master lock switch and sparrows and everything else. And I see what it's working on. You really can't see. Let me see if I can get this thing to zoom in. Down in here, I don't know if you can see. Let me get this light. There's 2 little metal spring type of things holding that in place. There's one on the bottom, see underneath that 3, and there's another one on the top. So I think what you're doing when you put this probe in is you're going through the keyway, and you're trying to get, I believe, on either side, past that metal, but pushing on that hump right there on either side. And when you pry them apart, it allows it to turn. And when this thing turns to the right, it pulls both the pawl. Let's get this guy focused again. It pulls both those pawls back and unlocks the lock. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't know they had a little number 3 in there to identify it. It'd be interesting to see if they had that on number 1s and number 5s, if they had a little number in there. But like I said, I've never been able to get one of these to work. I watched that video I don't know how many times. I've lined them up just perfectly and everything. But these tools are still good as kind of probes and bypass things for other locks. So it wasn't a waste, you know, like 15 bucks or so. It wasn't a waste for these. But their intended purpose never happened. So I just wanted to add that there to you. That's the mechanism. I just basically took a pair of needle nose and turned that guy just a little bit like that, and the shackle dropped down. Even though it doesn't have a spring, I was upside down, or having it upside down like this, so gravity worked. So there's the whole basically mechanism of a master lock, and one of the disadvantages I had found of one of these things being so small, they're pretty hard to pick now. Not hard physically to pick, they're hard to hold in your hand. You need like basically a little 3D holder like Foxy makes or something, you know, to put just to accept your core and to hold it, make it easier to pick and put it in a vise. But there you go, that's my update on that. And I may still yet take this thing apart just to practice on removing crimps. I watched, I believe it was Bronx Lock Picker, but it may have been someone else. He removed the crimp on one side on a crimp core. He removed both sides crimp. You got to be very careful. You take a flathead screwdriver basically and pry that out without breaking the copper. And when you go to put it back in, if you're ever think about modifying, you only need one side to hold it in. It's just to keep the core from coming out when you pull the key out. So that's my update, and I hope everyone is doing well. And that's basically the extent of my master lock number 3 tear apart. There's probably easier ways to do this, like I said, just chopping off the head